What's shaking, my friends? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shay, and today we're going to reflect on what my goals were for 2022. Did I meet them? And what are we going to do for 2023? So let's talk. In my 2022 goals video, the first thing that I really wanted to do was have fun in my reading, because at the time, at the end of 2021, I was not doing so. So did I accomplish this? I want to say I'm half and half on this, because I don't know that at the current time, just the way I'm feeling at the end of the year with my illness and just with the reading slump, I'm kind of feeling like I didn't. And in reflecting on earlier parts of the year, I read a lot of things that just weren't me, I feel like. And I think I need to focus more on me in 2023 and what I like instead of what everybody else likes. And I still think I'm figuring out, what kind of reading things, tropes, whatever that I like. And so I think I'm still trying to figure that out. And until I figure that out and really narrow that down, I don't know that my reading is going to be anything but mediocre, because I feel like 2022 was continued to be kind of a middle of the road, mediocre year where I didn't find a lot of books that I could really call a favorite, or, even, I think majority of the reads were 4 stars. But I feel like I just didn't, I didn't have a lot of books that really called to me. And so I want to find more books that call to me in 2023. The second goal I had in 2022 was to continue some series. And a big thing on this is that I feel like my enjoyment on a series kind of dwindles the longer I don't continue on. Because I can't remember what happened in the first book in the series, or whatever the book previous, if I wait too long. And then sometimes you can't find recaps of the book previously, and it really just stunts my enjoyment, because then when I start reading the book and then I don't remember the characters, I don't remember anything, what may have ended up a 4 or 5 star read when I would have read it closer to the book previous now is more like a 3-star read, because I'm, again, not as connected with the characters as I would have been had I read it sooner. And that's my big problem, and that's really was a lot of my goal in 2022, is to continue those series and start to put them on a schedule. In 2021, I was reading on a schedule. 2020, 2021, I was reading on a schedule. I would read 1 book from the series per month until I finished that particular series, and I wanted to get kind of back into this rhythm in 2022, and I can tell you that it absolutely positively did not happen that way. And so I started doing it more towards the end of the year, which I succeeded in at the end of the year, but the beginning of the year, middle of the year, I did not succeed in this, and it's something that I want to continue in the future. I will tell you, I did read 46 continuations of series. That's not the first book in the series, but that's the second and third book in the series. But I have a lot of open series right now, and I've even DNF'd some series this year. But I do think that 46 continuations, I'm at like 160 3 books right now. I have half a month to go, so I'll read a little more, but I did have read 46 continuations of series, which I would like to see that number higher, to be quite honest, because as a fantasy reader, you know that I'm majority reading series, so I need to be reading more than 46 of my 163 book year. So the next goal that I had was to read more books that I own physically, not just physically, but if I own it on Kindle, if I own it, on Audible, to read those books that I've actually purchased with my own money. And part of that goal was to not feel guilty about purchasing books. So at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, I was not purchasing a lot of books. And then you can check out my video on book consumerism that came out last month, that I really talked about that I wanted to make an effort to buy books again and buy and support these authors. And I've done a great job at the end of the year. I have 1 more book haul coming up for you guys. And so I think I'm doing great with buying books and, not overly so, but supporting those authors that I wish to support. And I read only 50 books that I owned, however. So out of the 163 books that I've read so far this year, only 50 of them have been books I own. Am I happy with that? I would say not really. I think I need to get at least to the 50% mark. That would be kind of my goal in 2023, is to kind of hit more towards at least 50% of my reading being from books that I own. So we will see if I can make that goal. I'm hoping that I can. I have actively tried to do that at the end of the year. You'll see my November, if you saw what I did in November, I spun the wheel of books that I physically own, trying to get some of those books read, and that's all I read in the month of November. And I may do some things like that again, I'm not sure, but I do want to concentrate on largely the books that I own. So the next goal that I had in 2022 was to pick up more big books. Did I accomplish this? So what I consider a big book is 500 plus pages. Did I accomplish this? The answer is I only read 23 books over 500 pages out of the 163 books I've read so far. So the answer is no. I don't think I did very well in this goal, and I think I'm going to continue this goal on into 2023. I really want to get this bad boy read, and I am continuously being intimidated. And the thing is that when I finally pick up very large series, I end up loving them. For instance, The Ember Blade is one of my favorite books of the year. It's 800 something pages. Like, I loved it. Just to name a few, not that I read this in 2022, but here's a book that, I also loved. That's a big chunker. And when I finally read these books that are big chunkers, I absolutely adore them. And I just need to buckle it down and read the big books. And so that's going to be carrying on into 2023, and we'll see how well I do next year. I'm hoping to increase that, like double it. So I said 23 books, hopefully 46 books, 50 books that maybe are above 500 pages. So that's like 30-something% of my read. All right. The next goal was to read more self-pubbed or indie authors, and I've read 10 books by self-pubbed indie authors, and I'm not including indie romance in this. This is just fantasy, because that was the goal, to read more self-pubbed indie fantasy. And so I read 10, which is markedly improved from the year previous where I read 0. So I think that I've done kind of well in that area, but I definitely want to do a lot of improvement, because I found some series that I liked. I found some series I didn't like. I also DNF'd a couple of the books, and that's fine, because I'm figuring out what I like in my fantasies, and I want to continue this goal. I want to continue to read this. I want to continue to support self-pub indie authors. So that's coming. I still want to continue that goal, and hopefully maybe double that one. Maybe 20 books will be self-pub indie fantasy. Just some numbers to kind of go by. Another goal of 2022 that I had was reread some favorites. So this was interesting. I only reread 2 of my favorite books, and I think that I hesitate to reread any more of my favorites. I do want to reread favorites. Yes, I do. But I hesitate because I had an instance this year, not that long ago, where I reread a favorite and then it wasn't a favorite anymore. And I want to look back fondly at when I read that book the first time. Maybe it was the headspace I was in at the time, and that book just hit me right at the time that I was reading it. And now that I've reread it, I wasn't in that headspace anymore. I wasn't in that time frame, so it didn't do as well for me. But so I'm kind of mixed on this. I still want to, at times, maybe reread a favorite, but I'm mixed on whether I'm going to make this goal. I don't think it's going to be a goal in 2023. I'm not going to push myself to reread favorites. So, I think Epic fail on that one, because I only read 2, and one of them I didn't enjoy as much the second time around. Okay. The other goal that I had in 2022 was the number of books I read. It was 125 books I set my goal at, and I exceeded that because I read 163. I'm going to go ahead and set my goal again for 125 books in 2023, and maybe I'll read more big books so I'll come closer to that goal. Meet that goal, but not exceed that goal by too much. And there's not that many goals I want to add in 2023. I think that what's important is just to read more to my taste, because I'm trying to sit here and read these very hyped books that everybody loves, and I have these expectations that these books are going to be great, and then I read them and they're like 3-star reads because they don't meet said expectations. And so I just want to find what I like and not really concern myself with what everybody else likes. if that makes any sense. I want to continue to figure out what I like in fantasy. I want to continue to broaden my horizons. I don't want to really put a lot of pressure on certain goals and certain things I want to meet. I do want to improve in these things that I want to do, but I don't want to put a lot of pressure on myself to do so. And again, that goes back to having fun with my reading, because I think that's a big part of a good reading journey, is just to make sure that you're having fun and you're reading things that you want to read, and not for the sake of just putting numbers, putting a quantity of books, higher quantity of books, that kind of thing, which I think a lot of times I feel pressured to do. So I also, though, one of my goals in 2023 is to DNF more. I think that I feel guilty. I feel guilty for DNFing a book, especially if it's a popular book that everybody likes. I want to be in on this. I want to like the hype too, but I need to understand that just because most people like this book and hype it up, it doesn't mean I'm going to. And I need to learn when to give up and say no when I'm not having a good time. I think if I learn to do that, then my reading year will not be as mediocre as, you know, past years, as 2022 has been. So that's my main goal, is just to bring the fun back to reading. And I think that was my goal in 2022, and then things just kind of fell off the tracks. But I'm going into the new year with a positive attitude as far as my reading goes, and just want to have a lot of fun with this. And I have a lot of things planned for the channel, and I'm really just excited about everything that may happen in 2023. So leave down below what your goals are for 2023. If any of your goals are the same as mine, let me know, and I will catch you guys later.